Hi, I'm Deirdre Wilson and welcome to Out of the Blue. This is our first installment that we're going to be airing on YouTube on a regular basis. And we have a very special guest, Carla Westlund. Carla Westlund was actually kidnapped and raped for 3 hours by a faux Uber driver. She's here to tell her story, tell you how you can prevent this from happening to you, and also what to do if you get in this situation. Carla, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. Thank you so much.
I really, really honor your bravery and your strength in telling your story. So let's start from the beginning. How did this happen? Take us to the beginning.
I was just out one night and I wanted to go home to my boyfriend's place. I ordered an Uber. I was waiting for them on the street and there was a bunch of Ubers in the road and I was on the phone with my driver. I couldn't really find him. And I believe I just got in the car that I thought was mine. And
do you think you were drunk at the time? Like you had a few drinks and maybe you were not as sharp as normal?
Of course. You know, I had a few and at that point I was hardly drinking, so my tolerance was way down. But this is not about how much I drink, you know, this is about what somebody else did,
right.
and this
I don't mean that.
No, of course.
I just
think
want
it's
to get what the frame of mind was, because it's
right.
so easy for any of us to come out of a restaurant or a bar and not be as alert as we normally would be.
Right. I always say I think everybody has a lapse in judgment. Mine just happened in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Right. So you got into the car. Now, did he just immediately pretend he was your Uber driver?
Yeah, I remember he asked me for the address. I thought he was just confirming it. And
now, when did you know you were in trouble after you got in?
Well, I fell asleep, and then I woke up and we were parked somewhere and he was in the back seat banging my head against the seat. So I would say that was a surefire sign I was in trouble.
So you just fell asleep on your own, you were tired.
Yep.
And had he raped you at the point before he was banging your head against the seat?
No. He was, waking me up and also putting me into submission.
What a way to wake you up.
Right. It was not fun. Nope.
Okay. So he was putting you into submission, preparing to rape you. Was his plan.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And the thing that really, really sticks in my mind is how you feel you survived this by, you, as in your words, you humanized him. How did you do that?
I just knew that he was panicking. There was a certain point in time I could just tell he was starting to think about the consequences. And I remember seeing on a Grey's Anatomy show
oh my gosh.
that if you start talking about your life to an attacker, it will force them to humanize you.
Yes.
So I just started rambling and then he started crying. It was the most bizarre thing, but it worked.
Now, did you start talking about yourself first, or did you start talking about, what was your childhood like, or what's your life like?
I just started rambling about my life. I just said I'm from Chicago. I moved here a year and a half ago. I have one sister. She's an architect. I have a cat named Charlie. It was just, completely random.
Random stuff.
Yeah.
Plus, you're a nervous wreck, so you're going to be rambling anyway.
Yeah. But survival mode is interesting. I wasn't really panicking the whole time. You just accept, okay, this is the position I'm in, and now what am I going to do to get out of it?
Yes.
It's just survival mode.
Okay. So what did he talk about? What did he reveal about his life? It's kind of interesting, right?
Yeah, he did open up about his life, but I later on found out he was lying. But he was very convincing in the moment, because I realized his objective was for me to think he was a good guy so that I wouldn't go to the cops. Right. And my objective was for him to think that I just didn't care to go to the cops so that he could let me go.
Yes.
He told me he was from Long Beach. He's the oldest of 3 boys. He runs an accounting firm with his brother, and his other brother is a cop. It was all a lie, though.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Did you believe him a little bit at the time?
I did, because it turned into some bizarre, creepy bonding session and a therapy session. Again, both of us had our own objectives, and he was crying. He was doing it through tears.
Isn't that interesting? So he's kind of feeling guilty about what he's doing, but he's doing it.
Right.
But not revealing why he was doing it. Correct?
Right.
He never got into that. Okay.
No.
And this happened a year ago this past January. It happened January 7th, 2017.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And they had just caught him like a little over 2 months ago, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so you found out, what's his name? Nicholas Morales, is
Yeah,
it?
Nicholas Morales.
Okay, and where is he, did they say where he's from?
I have chosen not really to
Say.
Yeah, or just look into it. I don't
Okay.
want to.
You don't want to.
I know he has 2 daughters and a wife.
Okay.
And
I'll just say for our viewers, if you want to see what he looks like, so you never have to see him again,
Right.
he is online, Nicholas Morales, and I believe he's on $1.3 million bail or something like that. Or is it, do I have that number right? Something like that. But he is in custody, and he doesn't have the bail amount, thank God. And hopefully he will be put away and helped, because he's not in his right mind.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell us what type of repercussions you had afterwards.
Yeah, it's all very unexpected. That's the thing about trauma, is you never really expect to go through any of the motions you do.
No.
I'd like to think I'm very aware of myself, and but these emotions surprise you. Afterwards, the immediate reaction is that I was so happy that I was alive. So that's very common. The first reaction, I was very happy I was alive, very grateful. I had this newfound appreciation of life that I still have. But, just weird things that I noticed. I wasn't really leaving my apartment for like a week. I was afraid to go outside. It didn't have to do with anything sexual. It was just any situation where your safety could be in jeopardy.
Right. Just a fear that
Right.
you had.
Driving. There was a lot of PTSD is a very common reaction to sexual assault. And I definitely experienced a lot of bizarre things that I wasn't expecting, like going to Universal Studios and they made me give up my mace at the metal detector, and I had formed such a bond with that because I knew what it was like to not have that as protection.
Sure.
And as women, that's something that I needed to understand, that unfortunately men are just stronger than us. That's something we have to accept, and you do need mace. You need a protection.
You can't fight them off. You
Right.
think in your mind, before something like that happens, you think, well, I'm just going to have this amazing strength and get away from them or kick them in the right place. But
Right.
then you realize how strong they are.
Right. And I'm a physically strong girl, and I fought really, really hard. And there came a point in time where I just realized the harder I was fighting, the more hurt I was getting. So you make a mental shift. Okay, this isn't working. Now I got to completely flip tactics. And
It's amazing what the mind does for survival. Now, didn't you also have a job that you lost as a result of this?
Yeah, that's another thing I was not expecting. I had started nannying for a family part-time before. It happened for about a week. Only a week, but the kids loved me. I loved the kids. The mom loved me. It was a great setup. And I felt the need to tell her what happened, thinking she's a woman. And I had no shame about it.
Right.
And that's the thing that makes me different, is I think it's depending on the case and how I didn't know him. He was a stranger. I think it kind of has
and
a different
the person that it happens to. You know what I mean?
Right.
But you have a strong, I think, foundation and constitution. So everybody's going to handle things differently.
Right.
But it's great that you didn't see yourself as this
right
victim.
And it's easier to see yourself that way when it's an attack like that, and you don't.
Sure.
It was just easier to get through, and so I had no shame about it. I told her what happened because her house key was on my keychain, and he took my keys, or I wanted to get out of his car so bad, and she ended up firing me because she was afraid I'm too emotionally damaged to care for her children.
Also, I was just thinking while you were saying it, maybe she was also worried about you having the key on your ring, like, you know what I mean? That, I don't know, he could find you or trace you
or
back
find
to
her.
Right, exactly.
I don't think it was that, though.
No?
I don't think it was that. She said she talked to a male cop friend of hers, and he said that, usually takes survivors a really long time to heal. Even though I kept telling her on the phone, I was like, I think I'm okay. My family flew out to be with me. I had a great support system. I spoke out right away. I had a ton, like hundreds and hundreds of people supporting me on Facebook and social media. And, I really did feel like I was going to be okay. I maybe only needed like a week or two. And she just didn't believe me.
Yeah.
You know?
And that hurts because you know how you feel. And you feel, you know what? I'm okay. I can take care of these kids. I love these kids. I don't want to be taken away from them.
It actually made me a better nanny. I was way more aware of my safety and other
surroundings, right? And I can see how that would be shaking up.
Right.
And that was interesting because when I talked to you originally about this, you talked about the difficulty in the stigma of this happening to someone. Like, you tell your story, you're very open, which I love. She's very open, obviously. But the stigma and how people think about it and interpret it is very interesting.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Sometimes people have almost more of a difficult time than you do. You know what I mean? They look at you like, leprosy, I got to keep away, right?
I always say that it's almost like my boss was looking at me like I had rape cooties.
Right.
You know? And I've talked to a lot of survivors, and a lot of them have said that what they deal with after their assault is way more damaging than the actual assault itself.
Interesting.
So, you know, there's just a lack of education about it. And for so many years, so many people have stayed silent. So I think it's written a script in society that, they must have done something wrong. Why aren't they talking about it? You know, and I think we're slowly coming out of that. But, society needs to catch up.
Right.
There's still some,
and she probably was just very fearful herself. Like, if anything happened to her.
And I get that, you know. She's being a protective mama bear. You know?
Right,
I get it, but...
let's talk about the fight, flight, or freeze. And which one you chose.
Yeah. I'm surprised you know about the freeze.
Because you told me about it.
Oh, okay.
We talked, obviously, before this interview.
Yeah, I didn't know about the freeze either, but I mean, obviously, I think I went through all of those. I fought right away in the beginning. I realized this is not working.
I'm not gonna. The strength of him.
This is not. So I completely flipped tactics and said to myself, I need to make this guy feel as comfortable as possible. Because if he thinks for 1 second that I'm going to go to the cops, then he's going to kill me. So it became all about preserving my life. And I didn't actually freeze. There's actually a scientific thing that happens to certain people when they're assaulted or raped, that their body will literally freeze and they can't move their body.
It shuts down.
Almost like a bug on the floor. It's the most interesting thing.
Like the possum that plays dead. Or
right.
whatever.
Right. But they just can't move. They're just frozen in fear. And yeah, I mean, at that point, and I at one point, he knew I wanted to get out of the car. I asked him if I could get out of the car, and he thought I was going to look at the license plate. At that point, you don't care to look at the license plate.
Right.
You just want to get out.
Yes.
All you want to do is survive. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
You went to therapy after this a little bit, and that seemed to help you.
Yeah. No. I did all the things I was supposed to do. I went to the group therapy. I had an individual therapist for a while. I recommend therapy to everyone, not just people who've gone through an assault. I always thought I was very, in touch with my emotions, and I still do feel that way, but there are things you learn about yourself in therapy just speaking out loud, and you start to heal yourself by speaking out loud.
I
hear
totally
the issue
agree.
as you solve it yourself almost.
We should all be in therapy.
Right.
Anybody that's on this planet needs some type of healing and has to work on something, right?
Right.
Or we wouldn't be here.
Right. I actually have somebody that always says to me, like, you go to the dentist to get your teeth cleaned so you prevent a cavity. You go to the therapist to talk through things so that it doesn't turn into issues.
Exactly.
Nothing to be ashamed of.
Now, after this happened for 3 harrowing hours, you actually talked him into driving you back to your boyfriend's house and dropping you off there. How did you do that?
Yeah, I just kept trying to find ways to make up for my physical strength with my mental strength. I was just being a little sassy sometimes, and it was actually his idea to take me to my boyfriend's place. I think, again...
Isn't that interesting?
I think it was his tactic for me to think he was a good guy, because he all of a sudden was just like, you know what?
I'm going to help you out. I'm going to drive you to your boyfriend's.
Exactly. He was like, you know what? I want to take you to where you said you were going. I want to take you to your boyfriend's place. And of course, then I'm panicking, thinking he's going to drive me to some warehouse and kill me, so...
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was wild, but...
And you got back to your boyfriend's house, and your boyfriend, I'm sure, was in shock. Did you go to the hospital after that, or make sure that you were okay physically?
This was 5 o'clock in the morning, and as soon as I got out of the car, all those emotions that I'd been suppressing for those 3 hours, just keeping my cool for 3 hours, just came to the surface, and I was just beside myself, stuttering, and my boyfriend was panicking, and he just called the hospital,
right.
the ambulance. So the ambulance came and they went to the hospital.
Good. You did the right thing.
Oh, thank you.
You mentioned to me that the rapist rarely returns to the scene of the crime.
Right. Yes.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, apparently that's how it works. That brought me a lot of peace. That's something I was told by my therapist. You know, they were lucky enough to get away the first time of me not catching their license plate or one other detail about his face or his car or, you know, anything. So it's rare that they'll put themselves back in that position, that risk to be, you know, noticed again.
Something happened with a hypnotist in Las Vegas. You were telling me that story. Can you share that with the audience?
Yeah, that's another one of my PTSD moments that I experienced. I was in Vegas for a hypnotist show about a month after it happened. My friend bought my flight and we never left the hotel. It was mainly to see my friend for her birthday.
Right.
And we went to this hypnotist show and not thinking anything of it. And this hypnotist I didn't really like that much. He was kind of misogynist, and he had these women on stage, and he basically, whether they were hypnotized or not, I'm not sure.
Yeah, who knows?
But he had them suck penis-shaped lollipops.
How gross.
Right.
No wonder you didn't like him.
Exactly.
It's pretty sleazy, right?
Yeah, so I'm seeing that happen, and I hear, you know, everyone around me is laughing. It's like knowing that this guy is making these women do something against their knowledge if they were hypnotized for the enjoyment of the male audience. There was something about that just triggered me, and I went into something called disassociation, where I felt like I was in a bubble watching myself in a movie, and everybody was laughing around me, and I was just in this bubble and just like silently crying. And
wow, that's an incredible experience.
Yeah, it was bizarre. Again,
that's kind of the PTSD kicking in, the trauma of it. You don't know when it's going to happen.
No, that's the weirdest thing. But it subsides. But that's the thing I want people to know, is that through time it does subside.
Well, I love the fact that you don't feel it was your fault. So what would you say to the viewers out there of how they could prevent something like this happening to them in the first place, and then if they do have this happen, what they could do to help themselves?
Right. Well, I would first and foremost say everybody knows when you get an Uber to check the license plate, check the make and model of the car, make sure your driver looks like your driver. Right. Another thing I know very few people do is to stand outside of the car, and instead of saying, "Are you here for Carla?" say, "Who are you here for?" So that they have to give the name.
Let them say it.
Instead of giving them the secret answer to what they needed, Always be alert when you're in every Uber. Don't be just sitting there texting on your phone. Just be aware of all your surroundings and your driver's behavior.
I don't think you even heard what happened today on the news with Uber.
What happened?
Did you hear anything? Okay, this is great, and oh my God, divine timing for the show today. Just saw on the Today Show this morning that Uber has a new button that you push that calls 911.
Really?
If you're in danger or scared of your Uber driver, whatever, they need one for the drivers now too. But there's a button that you push, and it calls 911, and it tells 911 exactly the location that you're at. Because sometimes they have a trouble, with your phone finding where you are. But with this particular feature on the Uber app now, they can go right to you, and they tested it. Jeff Rawson of Rawson Reports.
Yeah, I got interviewed by him.
Did you?
For the Today Show, yeah.
Okay, there you go. He was the one who did the story on this, and he tested it. He got in the car, drove around, pulled over to the side, called 911, and they knew exactly where he is. So that's isn't that amazing? That was amazing. Just on this morning, and you were going to be here as my guest today.
Ironic, yes.
Oh, divine timing. Yep. But anyway, that's something that I thought was great.
Yeah,
and you feel it's not a bad idea for us the ladies out there to carry mace.
Oh, definitely.
Because
you never know. You can't predict what's going to happen around you. I was one of those people too that just thought, I could handle
Right,
anything,
right.
and I'm a feminist,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
all of those things
Don't
that
come
make you
near
think
me,
like
I'll
I'm
fight back.
Yeah, I just thought, I could handle it, and
Not.
it's not always going to be that way. Yeah.
Will you take an Uber now?
Yeah, I
You
do.
will?
I do. Yep. The first one was hard, but yeah, I just need to face your fears.
I give you so much credit. I mean, I am the biggest scaredy cat in the world. Okay? I don't think I would have come through it as well as you. I really don't. And I admire your strength so much. I know you're doing volunteer work, getting involved in some things to help women. Tell us about it.
Right. I work with an organization called PAVE. It stands for Promoting Awareness Victim Empowerment. And we provide advocacy and support for sexual assault victims and education to high schools and law enforcement across the country. So
That is so wonderful.
Yeah, thank
I
you.
love it.
Yeah.
And you told me too when I met you that you felt there was a reason why this happened to you.
I do.
Tell us your feelings on that.
Yeah, I don't know, I can't really explain it. When we were first asked to do the first round of media, because we were trying to find my assaulter, I didn't really bat an eyelash. I just felt I'm happy to be this person, to speak out about this. I really didn't have any shame, and I think there's a reason for that. I think all my life has been preparing me for that moment, and that's why I handled it so well, because I was meant to be that person to shed the light on this issue for other survivors and, be a force of strength for other people to get through their own trauma.
You are so spiritually evolved. I think they're making the kids today much smarter than they ever did before. They just seem more spiritually involved, besides the techie stuff.
Yeah.
I think they're more spiritually involved, which I think is so cool.
Yeah, thank
because
you.
now you can give back, and help other people with
Yeah.
having this experience. And I love the fact, we got to come up with a new word. You're a survivor naturally, but I don't like the word victim. You don't like the word victim.
Right now.
How do you want to be thought of?
Well, there's a phrase that we say with PAVE. It's from victim to survivor to thriver.
I like it. You're a thriver.
Yeah.
A survivor and a thriver.
Right.
I like that because that really shows, you know what I mean, that you come out the other end even better than you were. Right?
Right. I don't want people to feel sorry for me. I'm better off than I was before, and I'm just like everybody else. I'm really no different. I've gone through something and I'm stronger because of it. And that's really it. People think it's crazy that I say I don't regret going through the experience, but I really don't. I really do feel like I was supposed to go through that because I'm a much better person today.
God chose the right person to go through something like that to help others and make people aware. And you're going on all these talk shows, and talking about it, which is, enlightening people. And tell us what you do. You're an actress, right?
Yes.
Tell us about your career. What do you do mostly?
I'm actually in a musical right now for the Hollywood Fringe Festival. There's this big festival in Hollywood, and we're in our tech week right now, so it's a pretty busy time right now.
How fabulous is that?
Yeah, that'll be all of June, every weekend in June. You can look it up. Our musical is called Public Comment. It's an original, and it's really funny. It's about town hall meetings and all the ridiculous stuff people have said in town hall meetings.
Is that your favorite thing to do, theater versus commercials or films?
No, I like all of it. I
you?
studied theater, so it's nice getting back into theater. So this is kind of a nostalgic thing for me to do right now, passion project. But
I think the hardcore actors are the theater people.
I agree,
That's where they start. That's kind of the hardest. They start off Broadway, in New York, in small theaters in summer stock.
Yeah.
And those are where you really get your acting chops, right?
Yeah, I agree. I think so.
Yeah. So that's fabulous.
Oh, thanks.
I wish you all the luck with that. I mean, that's
thank you.
wonderful. And thank you so much for being the incredible person you are. You're not only beautiful on the outside, but you're beautiful on the inside.
Oh, thank
and
you.
I think an inspiration for myself and an inspiration for people out there. The Out of the Blue show, if you don't know about it, is a show that focuses on animals, the environment, and spirituality, because those are the three closest things to my heart. I do deviate and have guests like Carla on because my whole goal of the show is to have positive media for the betterment of the planet. So you'll see plenty of interesting shows that hopefully will be helpful for you in the future. And it's going to be airing on YouTube, so now everybody can see it. It was on cable TV, it was on LA Talk Radio, and now it's going to be available for everyone to see. So from my heart to yours, this is Deirdre Wilson for Out of the Blue, and we'll see you next time on YouTube.
Bye.
Thank you, Carla.
Thank you so much.